Okay. So let's just chant that once more. ऐ निज हुं कृति मात्र निराकृत धूम्र विलोचन धूम्रशते समर विशोषित शोणित बीज समुद्भव शोणित बीजलते शिव शिव शुंभ निशुंभ महावतर्पित भूत पिशाचरते जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते. Seventh one. So when we listen to each other chanting, the way it feels, there is a certain level of meditativeness to this song. It is just that unfortunately, the way we have heard this whole composition always is upbeat. It's always heard upbeat. Now, it is good to have it upbeat so that the sounds drive away any form of negativities around it. And at the end of the chant, 21 verses, it takes time, like 15 minutes at least. By the time you chant all the 21 verses, it will take you about 15 minutes. And if you chant it with a certain vigor, then it also generates a certain energy space within us, which helps dissolve even mental tendencies. If there are lethargic tendencies, tamasic tendencies, negative tendencies, you're feeling low about yourself, depressive thoughts, etc. This shloka, or particularly this whole stotra, helps to get rid of that. Just by the construct of it, just by the way the words are. And as I said the last time, there are many bijaksharas that are embedded in this particular stotra. It is caught on to popularity. So a lot of people, it has become very popular. Say, Mahishasura Mardini stotra, will say, yeah, I know. So it will be very, very rare, those who've been part of this culture, it will be very rare for people to not know this particular stotra. It's very popular. But what is not popular is the layers of meaning that are there within, right? That is not very popular. It has become a popular song. It's become a catchy tune. It's become, the words are very tongue twisting words. So it's difficult to memorize the stotra also. So many tongue twisting words, right? So if you look at this mantra, this shloka itself goes, Ainija hum kriti matra nirakrita dhumra vilochana dhumra shate samara vishoshita shonita bija samudbhava shonita bija late. So there are words, Shiva Shiva Shumbha Nishumbha Mahahava. So there are words that keep, words and letters, sounds that keep kind of moving a little back and forth to create a sense of movement, right? And if you listen to this also, you'll tend to move. You'll notice that you'll tend to move also. The body moves. Why? Because Devi is movement, right? This whole stotra is on Mahishasura Mardini, Devi's form, and she represents movement. She represents creation. She represents this whole creative principle, the manifest world, and everything in here is movement. But the thing is the movement in the most suited direction? Is movement happening in the way that is beneficial for me? Is movement happening in the way that is for my inner development and growth? This is something that we are trying to work with, right? It's like saying, we often mention this. If somebody is running on a treadmill, what do you say? You say that you're not getting anywhere. You're running, there's a lot of movement, but you're not getting anywhere. You may be getting somewhere in terms of burning of your calories. Burning of calories, you're getting somewhere. But in terms of locomotion, you're not getting anywhere. So you also need to make sure that movement that happens within us, outside us, is a conscious movement. And that conscious movement is in alignment with where we want our life to go, where we want our inner space to develop, where we want um, our uh, our mind and heart and being needs to be. If I need to be in a certain place, I need to decide that I need to be in that place. And once I decide, I need to make the efforts to go to that place. Correct? No Christ or Krishna is going to come to pick me up and put me in that place. They can only guide me. They can only show me the way. But that walking on the way, the walking on the path is my thing. That movement has to be mine. To get up from the place that I am and to walk that direction and then get to that destination is my journey. And where is this journey that we are embarking on? This journey is completely an internal journey. How much difference, what is the distance between you and that consciousness that you're seeking, which is within you? What is the distance? You can't measure it in distance, right? You can't measure it in that form of distance. So there is movement, but this movement has to culminate into silence. That is the whole cycle here, which is what I mentioned by this leading into meditativeness. So if after the stotra, if you feel excited and you want to jump around and all that, that is one kind of nice feeling. But the feeling or the experience that one need to drive within is to get into that space within ourselves of silence. Because that's the distance between you and that which you're seeking. And they say, like in the Bible, it's mentioned that Christ says, be silent and know that. Be still and know that. Right? Just be still and know that. Which means know what? Know that that stillness is the truth. But what can take you to that stillness is through movement, you come to that recognition of that stillness. Those who are familiar with this dervish, the whirling dervishes, the Sufi movement, particularly of Jalaluddin Rumi, the way they meditate is by moving around. There's a very popular song in Jodha Akbar, there's a movie. Khwaja Mere Khwaja. So they move. And if you notice, if you've seen that song properly, if not, get an opportunity to go look up in the internet. It's Khwaja Mere Khwaja from Jodha Akbar. All of those people go into a state of trance. After they dance through the song, and then Akbar, who's acted by Hrithik Roshan, he gets drawn to it and he starts moving, and he also goes into a state of trance. So what is happening there? Movement, through movement, you're recognizing stillness. And there is a way in these, the way the whirling dervishes, they work, the way it is taught is also, when you are doing this, your attention, your eyes will move, right? When you're moving so rapidly around, your eyes will move. And the concept of that is, which Rumi, the Sufi mystic, introduced this whole way of meditation. He said, when your eyes move around the world that you see, you will see the world in a blurry way. You will see the world is blurring. The world that you're seeing right now as solid substance is becoming blurry. And we would have done this even as children. We would have done this. We would have just go round and round, and then we will stop. We'll feel dizzy and we'll fall down. And it's a game we play, right? But what is happening there? You are seeing the world that is so solid, that this is true, this is real. The people, the buildings, the the things, the objects, everything is real. That is their experience right now. But when you move like that, you will notice that all of this is becoming blurry in your vision. And it will cause, in our minds, it will cause a thought to think that, is there a possibility that the world is not as real as it is seen? And experientially, okay, it's not a thought that's rising because you've read some textbook. It's experiential. You moving, you're experiencing blurriness around you. But then a subsequent experience is also that there is a center around which all of this is moving, which is you. So you will recognize that center, and in that center you're there, and then you're moving, and everything is just changing. Everything is changing rapidly. When you see things changing rapidly, right now we don't see things changing rapidly, which is why we think things are permanent. The experience of permanence is because somewhere it is not sunk in us that it will change. It's not sunk in us because it's not changing rapidly. It is changing over due course of time, which is why a lot of times people, when they age with experience, they learn a lot of these things by experience, saying, oh, I've seen so many even after a certain age, or rather after a certain age, you would feel like, yeah, I have seen all of this. I have seen things come and go. I have seen people come and go. I have seen objects come and go. Why? Because you've lived long enough to experience the impermanence of things in your life. But doing exercises like this consciously, like whirling and things like that, like the way they do it, and they also do it with us with some kind of song which is calling out to Allah, so it's coupled with that, and you're doing that, you're recognizing the impermanence of things around you, and you're recognizing the permanence that is within, which is centered, which is around which everything is centered. So two things you will recognize. Now, what is happening here? This is be still and know that, which means, are they still? No, they are moving, but there is the recognition of stillness inside. And when you recognize that stillness, what does know that means? You would know that truth which is there. Now, same thing through Mahishasura Mardini also. She is movement. Nija, what is it? Ai nija hum kriti matra nirakrita. So she is hum kriti. So she is one who creates this humkara. Hum kriti matra nirakrita. So by creating whom, she is doing nirakrita. She is repelling, dispelling all kinds of negativities. So this hum sound is a bijakshara. It is a very effective bijakshara. And this bijakshara, we use it unconsciously. We use it. All of us use it. When you're tired and when you come and sit down, what is the sound that we make? Right? Of course, it's in subsequently apadi, amadi, something like that we say. But then the sound that we make is, where is that coming from? It comes from your navel, and then you're letting that air out, which means you're trying to release the stresses there in the body by creating this sound. And naturally we do this. So humkara is not it's a bijakshara which we naturally do. It's just that we are not conscious about it. And if we do it consciously as hum, hum. So we do it from the belly button. From the belly, we create that sound with you fill your chest with the air, and then you bring it to the throat. So you're doing from the Manipuraka to the Anahata to the Vishuddhi. You're sending the prana you're rejuvenating the prana by means of forcing the air out. Okay. So remember this, air is not prana. Prana is contained in air, but air is not prana. Prana is the energy, the psychic energy that is operating within. So you use air as a medium to alter and manage your prana. So what you do is hum. So you notice when you do hum, you're activating the Manipuraka, the Anahata, and then the Vishuddhi. So what she does, the shloka is saying, Ainija hunkriti matra nirakrita dhumra vilochana dhumra shate. So there's this Rakshasa by the name Dhumra Vilochana. Dhumra Vilochana is an interesting Rakshasa because Asura, not Rakshasa, Asura, because the meaning of the word is Dhumra Vilochana, which means Vilochana or Lochana means eyes. Dhumra Vilochana, Dhumra means smoke. So there are multiple ways of looking at this word. But the Rakshasa himself is Dhumra Vilochan, means one who has a smoky, one who appears smoky. So as a Rakshasa, you can say, okay, that Rakshasa appears smoky. So which means what? It's very difficult to attack the guy. Right? Because he's not carrying a particular form. He's not carrying a particular form. So he's Dhumra Vilochana. He's appearing smoky to the eyes. So when you're the thing that you're trying to win over, see, I don't want to use the word enemy, because whenever there is a war, obviously there is an enemy. But here we are not trying to deal with a war-like situation. It's something that is the negativities within us, which is what we are dealing with. So when you're wanting to win over something that is so smoky, how do you do? Where do you shoot the arrow? Where do you take your sword, and where do you fling your sword on? So that Dhumra Vilochana is the form of that state of a mind which is very difficult to catch hold of. So a lot of times we go through this, right? We go through a situation where I know I'm feeling low. I know I'm feeling horrible about myself, or I'm feeling not so good about myself, but I'm not able to put a finger on it. I'm not able to exactly say why. It just feels, everything in this world, nothing feels good. There are times we go through that, right? It's just the mind playing it out. Suddenly we'll feel low about ourselves. We'll feel that, no, I'm not good enough, or things are not working for me, or I don't know why so many difficulties, or whatever I do, I'm not getting the right recognition. People always misunderstand me. All of these things, it just builds up, and you are unable to put your finger on it. And you say, yeah, aha, this is the problem. That is the condition of Dhumra Vilochana, where we are unable to put a finger on the condition of a mind. We generally just feeling, I don't know why I'm feeling low. So Adi Shankara is giving a method here, saying humkara. So use humkara as a method to clear that smokiness, that lack of vision, lack of clarity. Dhumra Vilochana also means lack of clarity in vision. When I'm looking through smoke, I can't see through clearly, right? Whenever I see through smoke, obviously the smoke obstructs my vision. I can't see clearly through it. So you do hum, and then you clear off the smoke. And this, as a practice, if we keep doing it, we will be able to generate enough energy within us. And again, hum, although it comes from the Mula, from the Manipuraka to the Anahata to the Vishuddhi, this is the Vaikhari hum. Vaikhari means the hum that comes out as sound. But you can also convert this hum into Pashyanti hum. We've spoken about this, right? Parapashyanti, Madhyama, Vaikhari. The four forms of sound, four grades of subtleties in sound. Vaikhari is the sound that is heard and made. Pashyanti is that which is seen. The word is seen. A lot of times, which is why another thing, if you're teaching your kids shlokas, stotras, and all that, from very young, Gayatri is doing that. I know that. Very young, try to get your child to read Samskrita, Devanagari Lipi. Because the script itself, and I've not experienced the proof of it, but I've heard and seen people talk about stuff, which is the script, by looking at it itself, offers a certain meditativeness. It does alters the way your perception. It alters your perception. The script itself. Now, I don't know if there is sufficient evidence to validate that, but still, if you're looking at the script itself, it gives you a certain connection. It creates a certain connection within. So, which is why these stotras, which are written, which are delivered in Samskrita, it's better to read it in Samskrita itself. So it gives you that connection, and then those scripts. So this is Pashyanti. So I'm saying you're seeing. When you're seeing, so hum can be, you can visualize the letter hum, and you can, from the Agnya, you can deliver the hum. So you don't have to say it. When we practice sufficiently enough, we build that hum, and then when we're looking, I can just deliver the hum through the Agnya. And if we practice enough, I'm saying, when we do this, then imagine we have the power to clear negativities around us. Imagine the power that we have, right? This stotra, or this, it's trying to show that this power is available to you. We can clear off any form of negativity. You can feel completely protected and completely, there's nothing that can really harm you, be it physical, mental, emotional, or at an energy level. Nothing can come and hit you if we create the shield around us. Right? So, Ai nija hum kriti matra nirakrita dhumra vilochana dhumra shate. So it destroys that dhumra vilochana and breaks him into 100 pieces. Dhumra shate. Shata, 100. Then Samara Vishoshita Shonita Bija Samudbhava Shonita Bija Late. So here Shonita Bija is essentially the reference to it is the reference to Rakta Bija. So if you again know Devi Mahatmyam, there is a character called Rakta Bija, and Rakta Bija is known to have this boon that any drop of blood that spills from his body, it will create another Rakta Bija. This is the kind of demon he was, the Asura he was. So what was happening? There were people going, and Rakta Bija is in the war. In the middle of the war, he is fighting, he's killing people. Somebody chops a hand off his. Blood is flowing out. There are many Rakta Bijas rising from that. Even if you create a scratch on him, there is a drop that comes off. There is another Rakta Bija that's arising from that. So imagine you just keep cutting each Rakta Bija. There are so many more that are rising up, and it'll just create a horde of army of Rakta Bijas, right? So what is Devi doing here? He is called Shonita Bija. Shonita means Rakta. So Shonita Bija, what does she do? Samara Vishoshita. Vishoshita means to dry up. So in the battle, she dries him up. Shonita Bija, Samudbhava Shonita Bija Late. So the one who Samudbhava, he keeps rising again and again. the one who keeps rising again and again from each drop of the blood, that person, his blood, she dries up. Okay, samara vishoshita shonita bija samudbhava shonita bija late. So Rakta Bija, she dries him up so that no more Rakta Bijas can be created, and she destroys Rakta Bija. And if you know the story, it goes like Ambika comes, and from Ambika comes out Kali. Kali is the one who takes this cup, and whenever she chops off Rakta Bija, she collects the blood so that the drop doesn't fall onto earth. So that way she dries him up. Dries him up means she does not let the Rakta Bija further proliferate. Now, Rakta Bija, in the way the masters explain, this character is essentially symbolic of our desires. Okay. And the moment I say desires, now you know, okay, Rakta Bija is desires, yes, because this is how desires are. When you cut a desire and you let the desire stay unfulfilled, there are more desires that will rise. And you cut, the more come up, more comes up, more comes up. This is how it keeps going on, right? In Buddhism, in Buddha's philosophy, he takes you back all the way through his process of introspection. He brings you to the point to say that desire is the root of samsara, which is the same thing in our Shastras also. Kama Deva, right? Kama Deva or Kama is the primary cause for this whole creation to occur. Even between Purusha and Prakriti, or even Prakriti came out because of Purusha's Kama. So this process of Kama giving rise to samsara, which means samsara, in samsara, Kama is embedded. It is embedded inside. So to desire in the world, to desire is not necessarily a wrong thing because it is embedded. This is the way we are created. But what we are trying to do is not get caught up in the desires. See, like Ramana Maharshi says, or Swami Vivekananda says, to desire, so he says, the only desire that is worth having is the desire for God. So he makes it simple. He says, I am not saying don't have desires. Have desires, but have this desire. So it's like consolidating. You consolidate all the various desires and you say the only desire I'm going to have is this desire. Because every other desire is like Rakta Bija. There is no end to it. You cannot tell yourself that by fulfilling a desire, I am going to attain moksha.
Kamagni Mari.
Correct. It is an Agni. Absolutely. And like how an Agni always needs
Ghee.
and havis, something to consume, it always needs some fuel to consume. Which is why it is called Kama Agni.
But moksha is also a Kama, right?
Moksha is Kama. No, you're right. Moksha, mumukshutvam is a desire. It is a desire, but it is not a desire that you... So, look at the word mumukshutvam or mumukshu or moksham. It means to... Mukti means to be released. To be released. So when my desire is to be released, then that desire doesn't hold me back. You understand? Like, for example, if you're chained and you're in jail or you're in confinement, okay? And in confinement, you can desire several things. I'm in confinement. I'm in this place, in this, I'm bound here. I can desire so many things. I want good food. I want comfortable sleeping. I want a bed. I want air conditioning. I want television. I want internet. I want people to come and visit me. I want this, that, and the other. I can desire so many things. But the desire to be released from that confinement is only one desire. Right? The desire to be released from that confinement is only one desire. That is also a desire. But then that desire will not let you be bound into any other desire. Anything you bring to that person, you bring you bring him wine, women, you bring him entertainment, television, air condition, all the comforts. It will not satisfy this person because his desire is of liberation. His desire is of wanting to come out of that confinement. So having that kama, that desire.
But how does he know that he reached that level?
Reach that level means?
That his desire is fulfilled of mumukshutva. That is what he means.
No. Are you talking about having the desire for mumukshutvam, moksha, or?
No. So in order to maintain that strength of that single desire of mumukshatvam, so that should be maintained at a certain pace. Correct. And how he knows that there is a destiny?
So destination, you mean?
There is a destination.
Mukti, like Vatsala Mami is saying, Mukti is the destination. Now, how does he know? Okay.
It is like a sky, right? So you see,
absolutely,
there is a goal, but you don't know how far you are from.
You don't know, which is true. But if you recognize the present condition is of confinement, okay, if you recognize that the present condition is a condition of confinement, I am confined. By the way, by release or liberation, I don't mean going away somewhere from your social condition. No, I'm not saying that, okay, I'm stuck in this family, I'm stuck in this job, I'm stuck in this world, I have to go somewhere. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the experience of liberation from inside. Now, when that happens, it is when there is sufficient trauma that you undergo within you. There's sufficient trauma of being bound. See, till we experience the joys of the confinement, we will not want to be free of the confinement. Agree?
So that means you say Nischala Tattva, is it?
Nischala Tattvam is a way to get there. But how do you know? Your question is, how do I know that I need to look for liberation? It will only happen when you're tired of your present condition. When you've had enough of the present confinement that you're in, and you dam ghutta hai, there's a term in Hindi, that you feel suffocated. And that suffocation is not because of the people around you, none of that. This suffocation is from inside you somewhere. This recognition has come through many lifetimes that I am stuck in a cycle. I'm stuck in a cycle, with people, with objects, with things, with gaining and losing and this and that. I've come to a point somewhere inside there is a fatigue. And this fatigue is on one side. And naturally within us, there is always a desire to expand. Right? See, if somebody puts us into a one room, everything is offered, everything is given to you, everything is taken care, okay? They put you into that one room. I'll say this is where, don't ask to come out. The only condition is, I will not give you the key to come out, but everything will be offered to you here. You'll get everything.
Big Boss Mari.
Big Boss Madri. Look at the end of Big Boss. People are just wanting to get out of that place, right? Because this need to expand is very natural within us. Which is why when we get something, we want something else. Correct. When that is when we desire to run out, which means we feel fulfilling a desire is not offering me the space and the freedom that I'm looking for. This freedom that I'm looking for is not offered in fulfilling the desires that are rising within me. But earlier in our life, we would feel that. We will think that, okay, I'm having this desire, I'll fulfill this, I'm feeling joyful. I fulfill a desire, I'm feeling joyful. But enough number of times we go through this cycle, and again through God's grace, Guru's grace, through the lifetimes we've had experiences, we go through this enough number of times. Like for example, Kalpaka. Kalpaka, I've not seen another person in my life at least who has seen so many deaths in such a young age. So many deaths. Every 3 months or 4 months, you will hear that somebody she knows has passed away, or at least every 6 months. And somebody she knows is passing away every once 6 months. Once a year, at least 2 people she knows. Now, this is a very interesting experience, right? It's interesting because for the individual to have seen so many close people having died, it will create a certain question within you. It will create a question about what is life? What is it that eventually I am also going to go? This I am going to go doesn't hit you if you have not seen it enough number of times. So when somebody sees it so many number of times, it's like, oh my God, I mean, then what do you run after? Okay, Mama, are you? What do you run after? Right? So this particular confinement is what we are wanting to look for liberation from. So we are saying Samara Vishoshita Shonita Bija Samudbhava Shonita Bijalate. So we are looking for this one desire and we work in that direction, and whatever comes up, it will come up. But at least we've had enough vairagya, we build enough vairagya to pursue that one desire. Now, your question is, we don't know where the destination is, where it's going to go, etc. We won't know, but we know that this is not going to give me that joy. And which is why we turn to scriptures, we turn to masters, we look at gurus who seemingly have touched that. And they say, you don't have to go looking for it outside, it is within. And then
I got it. Understand.
Right, then you turn inwards.
Yes, that's correct.
Right. So then you go next one. Next line is, we got a few minutes, we'll close it. Shiva Shiva Shumbha Nishumbha Mahahava Tarpita Bhuta Pishacharate. So Shiva Shiva Shumbha Nishumbha. So this is okay. What it the whole the way Shubha and Nishubha are killed or destroyed is through a Mahahava. Mahahava means a Mahahavan or a Yajna. And what is offered into the Havan is Shiva Shiva. It's another Bijakshara, Shiva, Panchakshari, we know. So you offer Shiva Shiva as a Bijakshara, as a mantra, as a sound into this Havan, which is a Mahahavan. And through that, Bhuta Pishacharate, all the Bhutas and the Pishachas are all, again, negativities in the form of Bhuta and Pishacha, which means these are all hanging spirits. Bhuta, Pishacha essentially are hanging and dangling spirits. Spirits, why are they hanging and dangling? Because their desires have not been fulfilled. Same thing, Shonita Bija. Rakta Bija, if he's dried up of all the desires, then there is moksha. But if it's not dried up and your body drops and the desire still continues, you become a bhuta and a pishacha and you just hang around. So even to that, he's saying that by means of offering. So if you know people who are still in your lives, you may have people who have possibly left, but they have left with a lot of dissatisfaction in their lives. You can offer this this idea of Shiva Shiva or the mantra Shiva Shiva Panchakshari mantra into a havan, into a yajna, Mahahava, which is the greatest yajna, which is the biggest yajna kunda. It is Surya. So if you are not able to set up a yajna kunda and do the offering, then look at Surya mentally and offer Shiva Shiva, Shiva Shiva. Because he is the greatest yajna kunda, right? He is the source of all fire. So offer Shiva Shiva, Shiva Shiva, Mahahava, Shiva Shiva, Shumbha Nishubha Mahahava, Tarpita. It's like a tarpana. You do like a tarpana. You offer. Bhuta Pishacharate. So all the bhutas and the pishacha that hold you, rate means to hold you in their sway. They will get dissolved. They will get released. So look at this particular shloka. As we close, we recognize that this shloka is focusing on two things. One is the kinds of negativities, right, in the form of Dhumra Vilochana, Rakta Bija, Pishacha, Shumbha, Nishumbha, Bhuta, all of these different forms of strong negative tendencies that we carry. They can be released by two sounds. Okay, one sound is Hum, the other sound is Shiva Shiva. So there are two aksharas, two bijas that he is introducing and saying you use Hum to release that, or you use Shiva Shiva to as a yajna. So let's think about these things and try to see if you want to practice it as a regular practice whenever, because these are things that it's out there. They don't require initiation or a diksha in that form. It is available in the stotra. These stotras are available to everybody. It's not necessarily that has to be delivered through a diksha. When we understand it, we take that as a diksha. That's all. This is our understanding of it, is something that we can start using it to practice. Right? So through this, when we practice this, we will be able to see the effect in our body, in our minds, in our energy space around us. Right? And then Jaya Jaya He Mahishasura Mardini Ramya Kapardini Shaila Sute. Oh mother, that great one with great beautiful tresses, beautiful hair, Kapardini, Ramya Kapardini, the one who sits atop a mountain, Shaila Sute, the daughter of the mountains. May glory to be you, or may glory be to you. Jaya Jaya He Mahishasura Mardini Ramya Kapardini Shaila Sute. Okay, so we bring that image of Devi within us, and like I said, the Meru is this, the Shaila or the mountain is this. If you look at the peak as the Sahasrara and your Muladhara as the base of the mountain, you are the mountain. And she is Shaila Sute, she is the one who's residing within you as the daughter of the mountain. And we visualize her with her tresses open, Ramya Kapardini. It means her tresses are open and it's flowing through. Look at the tresses as nadis, various nadis in our body, 72,000 nadis as the hair of Devi. Right? And then every nadi, we are energizing through this and we are bringing that attention into us and making sure that we embody Devi. So the moment we embody Devi within ourselves, then all negativities are driven. Okay. So we close with that today. Om Kayena Vacha Manasendriyerva Buddhyatmana va Prakrite Svabhavat Karomi Yatyat Sakalam Parasmai Narayanayeti Samarpayami Sadashivayeti Samarpayami Jagadambikayeti Samarpayami Sadgurunathayeti Samarpayami. Hari Om Tat Sadgurubhyo Namaha. Gurudeva. Hari Om.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.
Hari Om.